Hey guys, hello and welcome to Anime Unfold. I recently finished Bleach 1000-Year Blood War and man, this shit is legit. I mean, for people like me who crave animation quality, this arc was the best thing I ever watched. Sorry Demon Slayer fans, but it's even better. When I watched the first episode, I was like, damn, they even animated the particles of the Quincy arrows. Can't believe the level of attention to detail. Even when Ichigo was charging for his Getsuga Tensho, his Zanpakuto toe turned into a rocket and was throwing fumes like crazy. With that music in the background, I was feeling super hyped. Felt like I was inside this scene itself. Now let's just say we keep the animation to the side. What else makes me say that this arc is perfect? Let me show you. Just look at the lighting and the color palette of each scene. Look how dark it is. In some instances, in the March of the Star-Crossed episode, we can see the scene is bright and warm, but as soon as the Quincy's enter, the coldness somehow takes over the warmth of the whole place, like engulfing it in such a way that no colors remain except the cold blue of the Quincy soul. For example, let's compare it with My Hero Academia. In the Shigaraki Awakening arc, which by far was the darkest arc of the whole anime, the color palette and the bright skies take away all the tension of the scene. That's the thing Bleach has completely mastered. During the Quincy attack, you can see no emotion but pure fear in the eyes of the Soul Reapers.
What the hell? What is that?
And the pure evil in the eyes of the Stern Ritter.
We're going to purge you from the world.
Even the gore is real. One thing that pisses off a lot of fans about the original Bleach is the censorship. The gore in the original manga is a hell lot more intense than what's shown in the anime. For example, in this scene, you can see Rangiku's half stomach was damaged after the attack in the manga version, but in the anime, it's like only little shreds of her clothes fell off. The new anime fixes that. The bloodshed is as intense and as brutal as it gets. Manga and anime are almost identical if we're talking about censorship, and somehow they still manage to have an age rating of 16+. With scenes like this, that's truly remarkable. Even Harabelle's character design was finally given some justice. Like, just have a look at the original anime, and then the new one. I hope you can see what I'm talking about. If this much is not enough to convince you that Bleach 1000-Year Blood War arc is perfect, let me show you the other reasons beside the animation quality. The pacing of the anime is just perfect. The only anime I can remember which mastered the pacing like this one is Death Note. For example, I started watching the tybw arc thinking that I will only watch one episode each day, so that I don't waste much time. But man, I was forced to complete the anime in one day. I just couldn't stop watching. The pacing and the info in each episode are just perfect. The 13 episodes that they made pack more info than 39 episodes of the original Bleach anime. And always, the episodes end at such a cliffhanger that you literally have to fight with your maximum willpower to not hit play on the next episode. Now let's talk a bit about the story. But spoiler alert, the only reason I waited so long to create this video was I wanted to make sure all of you watched the tybw arc. So if you have already, then congratulations. As I said before, the level of info presented to us in such a short number of episodes is phenomenal. Firstly, we learn about the Quincy King and the Stern Ritters, that they are still alive and are ready to fight this battle that has been started 1,000 years ago. Then, we see how captains are helpless in front of the Stern Ritter, the same captains who we once thought were the strongest group of warriors in the whole anime. The Stern Ritters were just beating the shit out of them, and then also stealing their Bankai.
Bruh.
Let me know if there's any other way to infuriate and disrespect someone in their own home like that.
Our Bankai. They're stealing it.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro. You tripping.
The fights in this arc were next level. First, we see how the Quincy attack destroys the whole Serite, and even after using their full potential, the captains were powerless in front of them. So much so that the head captain had to enter the fight. And by looking at the expressions of all the other captains, we can understand how serious the deal was. He hasn't stepped into a serious fight in centuries, but now that he entered the battlefield, it finally looked like things might have changed in the favor of the Soul Reapers.
Old Man Yama's spiritual pressure is reverberating throughout the Serite. Gives me the shivers. Feels almost like he's scolding me.
We can see as soon as he summoned his Bankai, the color palette of the whole scene changed. The sky became white again. It was like the sun has finally risen and consumed the cold night. All the traces of darkness were gone. Everything was white, and even a hint of blue tint was not there.
He's using it.
Bankai. Sanka no Tachi.
Being extremely infuriated by the death of his comrade, Yamamoto was not joking around. This time he was fighting for real. We could see the confidence vanishing from the face of the Quincy King's face as the battle progressed. When Yamamoto uses Zanka no Tachi West, it looked like the sun itself was summoned on Earth.
Zanka no Tachi West, Sunjitsu Gokai!
Even the earth started melting, completely catching Yhwach off guard. Yhwach used Kurchin lead Sank's Winger to guard himself, the Quincy's ultimate defensive incarnation. But then Yamamoto was like, I ain't stopping for that shit, and summoned Zanka no Tachi South. He summoned all the people who were killed by his blade, which means there were thousands of Quincy souls coming to attack Yhwach. This has to be the highest form of torture anyone can handle. Just imagine to defeat your enemy, you have to step over the dead souls of your own comrades. This move was cold as f.
What is this? What in the name of heaven or hell is this?
Yhwach was shocked, and we can see fear taking over his soul with every skeleton rising from the ground. After that, Yamamoto finally freed Yhwach from his suffering, and took revenge for all the Soul Reapers who had fallen in the battle by summoning his final Zanka no Tachi North. A single slice that has the heat of 1,000 suns, cutting Yhwach straight through his guts. Now that everything is over, the fallen Yhwach started saying, I am sorry I wasn't strong enough.
I hope you can forgive me. But whose forgiveness does he seek?
And then, the real Yhwach rises from the earth, and the biggest plot twist finally happens. Turns out the person that Yamamoto was fighting till now was just a Stern Ritter who had the ability to copy someone's appearance and abilities. Yhwach sent him to distract Yamamoto while he was talking with Aizen. And then, as soon as Yamamoto thought of attacking and summoned his Bankai, Yhwach stole it. And he also clarified that it's not like someone couldn't steal your Bankai, it's just that I am the only one who can handle the power of it. And then he summoned a huge arrow, which turned into a sword and cut Yamamoto in half. Yhwach said you wouldn't fall this easily if you were the beast I once knew. He could go to any lengths to win. You, on the other hand, have started valuing peace. You have people whom you love and lose.
You soft-hearted old fool. You now found that there were people you wanted to protect and love. You developed a sense of justice and mercy, and that made you weak.
And that's how our beloved head captain died. There are more amazing fights in this arc, like the iconic Zaraki vs Unohana fight.
Bankai.
The first Kenpachi versus the current one. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a detailed video about that fight as well. That fight was not to prove who was better. The main aim of the fight was to bring out the beast that Zaraki originally was. The beast that made Unohana feel fear for the first time in her life. And at the end of the fight, we hear a distinct voice that can only mean one thing. Kenpachi Zaraki's Bankai. I am super hyped about that.
It's nice to meet you, Kenpachi Zaraki. My name is...
Later, we learn the backstory of Ichigo's mother as well, Masaki.
It's okay. Don't worry, I've come to protect you.
A story of how a Soul Reaper and a Quincy, two polar opposites, fell in love, and how Ichigo, the symbol of their love, became the only person in the history of Bleach to have all four sides of the quadrant of life: human, hollow, Soul Reaper, and Quincy. At the end of the day, the story of Bleach is about how Ichigo finds balance inside of himself. There are even more intense scenes in the later episodes, like how Ichigo finds out about his Quincy powers in front of Yhwach.
That? No. Impossible. Brute Vena.
And how he goes to the Royal Palace to fix his Bankai. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and what you think about the Bleach TYBW arc. And let's end this video with the coldest scene in anime history.